Anyway, I'm Chief Bergeron with Harlem Roscoe. Every year we hold a golf play day, and all the proceeds we get from that go back to the schools that are in our district. Probably over the past 10 years, we've donated about $180,000 between the schools, between computers and things like that. This year we decided we do something a little bit different, and we're going to supply Prairie Hill with Stop the Bleed kits. Okay, we hope to God that we never have to use them, but if we do, they will be prepared to, assist until we get there and everyone else gets there. So I know we have been doing some training with the schools down at Harlem, a couple weeks ago, roughly. So we're going to present these to Prairie Hill, and we're also going to send staff up here to train the trainers to use these kits. So I'll be in contact to get that all set up, but just want to present this to the schools. I do have all of them at the station. I'll bring them up tomorrow or Friday, whatever.
You can drive them up tomorrow.
Tomorrow, we'll bring them up tomorrow, but on behalf of Harlem Roscoe, I'd like to just kind of present bag with 30 of the kits or 35, whatever is in that box of Stop the Bleed kits.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So, like I tell all the other schools, I appreciate the working relationship we have with all of our schools. It is absolutely fantastic when you find a partnership like we have with all of our schools. So we hope we're just as good as partner as you are with us. So
Absolutely. Thank you, Jeff.
Okay.
Yes.
thank you guys. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Thanks for having me.
Sorry for the delay.
That's okay. Thank you.
Take care.
Is this who we're waiting for?
Yeah. Jeff made it. You're right.
I do it now?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I'm gonna call to order the Prairie Hill Community Consolidated School District number 133 meeting for
How are
tonight.
you up there?
Because,
Here we are.
doing some changes tonight. Okay, it was called to order by me, and now we're declaring a quorum is present.
Yep.
And we're gonna do roll call.
Fleischman,
Here.
Anderson, here. Mr. Shuckman, Ms. Finnegan, here. Mr. Keller.
Stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're doing a new board member seating.
Yes, so at the last board meeting, Lori Dixon resigned. She's taking a spot as a teacher at Prairie Hill Elementary School. So board conducted interviews and they chose Jeff Lewis. So Jeff, if you want to come up, we're going to do your oath. We'll swear you in and then you get to have a seat. You bet. All right, whenever you're ready, you go right ahead.
Want me, sir?
Yeah.
I, Jeff Lewis, affirm that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of member of the Board of Education of the Prairie Hill School District in accordance with the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and the laws of the State of Illinois to the best of my ability. I affirm that I shall respect taxpayer interests by serving as a faithful protector of the school district's assets. I shall encourage and respect the free expression of opinion by my fellow board members and others who seek a hearing before the board, while respecting the privacy of students and employees. I shall recognize that a board member has no legal authority as an individual and that decisions can be made only by a majority vote at a public board meeting. I shall abide by the majority decisions of the board while retaining the right to seek changes in such decisions through ethical and constructive channels. As part of the Board of Education, I shall accept the responsibility for my role in the equitable and quality education of every student in the school district. I shall foster with the board extensive participation of the community, formulate goals, define outcomes, and set the course for Prairie Hill School District. I shall assist in establishing a structure and an environment designed to ensure all students have the opportunity to attain their maximum potential through a sound organizational framework. I shall strive to ensure a continuous assessment of student achievement in all conditions affecting the education of our children in compliance with state law. I shall serve as education's key advocate on behalf of students in our schools to advance the vision for the Prairie Hill School District and I shall strive to work together with the district superintendent to lead the school district toward fulfilling the vision the board has created, fostering excellence for every student in the areas of academic skills, knowledge, citizenship, and personal development.
That was a long one.
Yeah, thanks.
Good job.
We will now begin the public comment section of our agenda. The board asks that all speakers adhere to the following rules. Number one, please limit comments to 5 minutes. Number two, to conserve time. The board president reserves the right to shorten public comment and or require a single representative to speak on those same topic. Number three, while the board welcomes comments, speakers should not expect an immediate response or enter into a dialogue with the board during the meeting. If follow-up was requested or deemed to be necessary, the board president, superintendent, or designee will individually reach out to the speaker. Number four, speakers must conduct themselves at all times with respect and civility toward others and otherwise abide by board policy 830, visitors to and conduct on school property. And number five, speakers are asked not to make comments regarding specific concerns related to specific district employees or students during public comment. If a speaker wishes to make a comment about specific district employees or students, he or she is asked to notify the superintendent prior to the board meeting, and the board will consider if the speaker's comments can be made in an alternative. And first signed up is Tammy Tierney.
Or should I stay? Okay. Bear with me. I am speaking for Tasha Hutchins, who worked at Prairie Hill School in the kitchen. And she's so emotional about the topic. She has asked me to speak for her. So my name is Tammy Tierney. I was a sub in the kitchen this past school year. Okay. Good evening. My name is Tasha Hutchins, and I worked at Prairie Hill School for 8 years as a cafeteria worker. I showed up every day. I worked hard. I did what was asked of me. But on May 30th, 2025, the last day of school, I was fired. I asked the kitchen director 3 different times why I was being let go. And all she would tell me was that they were going in a different direction. When I got home and read the bottom of my review, I was shocked and hurt. The kitchen director had written that I was caught in lies. I am not a liar, and deception, and that I let other employees tell me what to do. None of this was true. I was never written up, never warned, and always did my job. I felt like it was a setup. I believe the kitchen director pushed me out so a friend of hers could take my position, and now she has. The kitchen director was rarely at Prairie Hill. She would stop in for 5 minutes and leave. I believe the kitchen the kitchen director was rarely ever at Prairie Hill. She would stop in for 5 minutes and leave. How could she barely review our work when she truly never saw what we went through or how hard we worked? She just listened to other people and what they told her. On March 10th, the Willowbrook kitchen manager came to help us prepare for an upcoming audit. Instead of supporting us, she came in criticizing everything we did, even though we were doing things exactly the way the kitchen director told us to. I stood up and told her I didn't like how she was treating us and that she was acting like a bully. She acted like she could say and do anything because her husband is on the board. The very next day, things got worse. Jan was so upset, who was one of my coworkers, she got up and walked out. I also reported to the kitchen director that the maintenance manager was out on the playground telling staff and teachers that Stephanie was present and I were getting fired. And he knew a whole month before we did. That is completely unprofessional. The kitchen director said she talked to the superintendent since the maintenance manager was told not to say anything. But my question is, why did he even know in the first place? He doesn't work in the kitchen. Last year, I got a 4.8 on my review. This year, I got a 3.2. My work ethic didn't change, only the way I was treated. My coworker, Stephanie, sent multiple complaints to the superintendent and never received a response. On Fitness Day, May 16th, 2025, we served grilled hot dogs. The leftovers were kept over the weekend, and we were told to serve them again on Monday. As a mother, I would never serve my own children the food that sat in the fridge that long. I refused and threw it away. I have a picture of the hot dogs for reference. Another time, we were told to cook Bosco sticks at 140 degrees, even though the box clearly says they needed to be cooked to 165 to be safe. I brought this up to the kitchen director and she told me I was wrong. One day when the Willowbrook kitchen manager was helping at Prairie Hill, I caught her twice giving the wrong food to gluten-free students. I was working the register with a line of kids and I had to rush over to stop it before they ate. Students and families pay too much for kids to be served unsafe or poor quality food. Even a second cereal breakfast costs $4. That is not right. There were many days when just Stephanie and I had to run the entire kitchen with no help. The kitchen director never stepped in, not even once. And one time, Rick, the custodian, helped us for a few minutes. The maintenance manager saw it and called the kitchen director. And 5 minutes later, she came in and yelled at us saying Rick couldn't help because he didn't have a food handler's card. But subs help all the time without one, myself included. I was always told that as long as someone on site was certified, which I am, we're okay. I'm not speaking for myself. I'm speaking for others who have been mistreated or pushed out. Stephanie, who's present, sent multiple complaints and got no response. Jan was so fed up with the treatment, she walked out after being disrespected. Lindsay, who left after being mistreated. Ashley, who quit after speaking up about old food being served and was treated horribly for it. There is a clear pattern here. Favoritism, gossip, poor leadership, and unsafe food practices. The kids were always my first concern, and I saw that every time I subbed. They loved us. I knew every student who came through that lunch line by name. I worked so fast, they had to have more time to made sure my team understood the kids came first, always. I showed up every day because I cared. I took pride in making sure the food was safe and good, even when we were short-staffed, even when we were ignored or disrespected. I loved my job. I cared about the students, and we deserve better. We all did. Thank you.
Doesn't matter. We
Doesn't matter.
You can go now, or we can wait until later. It's up to you.
So I am, this is not like extremely organized, this piece of paper, but I'm gonna give you a little bit more information. So, Jackie asked me to come and talk about, two different club things that I have, one that I'd like to do and one that I have been doing that I've been interested in getting the stipend for. So I'll talk about Broadway Club first because it's on the front. So the whole intention of Broadway Club, as like here we do a full musical, and we used to do one every year. And then I kind of switched to trying to do one every other year post COVID, for a number of reasons. One of them being just like a change in just like the structure of like how things like were working like with the extracurriculars, but also, you know, change the students' behavior. But then also I started a family and I had a baby in 2022, which very much changed my time availability. So my intention was to start this Broadway Club and do a full production every other year with the Broadway Club intermittently. So I want to talk a little bit more about it because I proposed it, I think, in 2020, December 2023. But I don't think it was fully understood. So I wanted to go a little bit into it. So basically, my idea is that I want to do something in the interim that is less time consuming for me personally. As you know, we're a small district. I am not just a director, a music director, I'm a tech person, I am construction person, I'm painting person, I'm costumes. If you come in my room, I'm sewing between February and April. It's like, it's a lot. Thankfully, it was great this year that I had more parent volunteer step up, Tina being one of them, which was great. And helped me with like the corralling of students part. But just because it's like, you know, I think Linda, who is here in my position for 25 years before me, you know, her kids were already like 8th grade and higher by the time she came in. So it's just a little bit of a different situation. So the idea is that in these off years, because I think that they posted the job for the full production last year and nobody took it. So then the kids ended up getting nothing. So the idea is that it's going to be more of a showcase. So instead of meeting 4 days a week or 3 days a week, we meet once a week. And the idea is teaching the students the skills needed to be in a successful production, because there's a lot of skills like they just don't know, and it's not their fault. It's just because they've never been taught them. And I truly believe the best way to teach is let the kids take the reins, which is what the idea is with this. So the idea is that we're going to focus on a different theater topic every week, based off of like just different skills that they can have, such as being quiet backstage, behavior, other things. And then this is just a first draft, so just so you know. And then focusing on a different topic while also learning a Broadway review, which there's a really cool compilation of Disney Broadway music that I was going to do a couple of years ago, which I'd like to do again. It's about a 15-minute compilation of things. So the kids are still going to have the opportunity to sing, to act, to perform. But then the other side of this is I'd also like to highlight the 8th graders, just because I feel bad not having them have a show their 8th grade year. It was very, very hard for me to tell them that the 8th graders a few years ago were not getting one. So then the second part of it would be highlighting the 8th graders. They can do small group performances, solo performances, things like that, so they get their time to shine. And then the final part of it is the students are going to be running workshops. So they would basically be doing a cycle of like 4 different activities where the people who come to support family members and friends and whoever else will be split up, and the students will be running different things. And in my head, I have it as 7-minute thing. So it's like a 7-minute tour of the stage, and have the students run it. They're going to talk about the history of like why things are the way that they are. They're going to talk about all the parts, and then 3 different theater games. So once they go to the tour, then they'll like cycle through, and I have Night at the Museum, which is one that kids know. And then in another room will be Pass the Sound, another room will be One Word Story. And this is like obviously going to be flexible, but the idea is that the kids are guiding it. They take more ownership of the program, they gain a bunch of skills, and then when we come to the full productions in the following year, they're more prepared. And they're not kind of caught like in this, like, how do I even be a part of this? So that's the intention. Then they also get something. They're taking those leadership roles, and also like it's more like, you know, I'd love to have another child in the future, and it would be great to be able to like do it in a year where like we didn't have the full production, because I came back and did the full production after I had my daughter, and it was like, whew, it was a lot. So that's the intention. I fully intend to go back to doing full productions every year in the future. I can't tell you when that will be, but I'd really like to go back to doing it. And I hate the idea that if they post the job and no one takes it, then the kids get nothing, because that's the intention. So yeah, and I have no idea as far as like, it would go as far as like stipend. I told Jackie that I would do it for free last year. But you know, it'd be great. I don't know what the starting thing is for clubs, but it's still a work in progress, but I do have a plan for all of it. Like I could put it on tomorrow if I needed to, but it's still kind of in the works. So I'd want to throw that out there, because this would be a non-production year, because we just did Mean Girls in April. So that was the first thing.
So
I-
this would be for this upcoming.
Yes, yeah, 25, 26, 26, right? 5, 6, yes. And it would be like the same timeline, starting like end of February, go through the end of April. And I could either do it, like I could make it like, no cost to do it, which is a total option, or I could do what I do now, which I take $20, they get a shirt, and then we get a cast party, which I'd like to do that because they enjoy that aspect. So it'd be very low cost for the students as well. All I'd have to do is pay for the rights, which I do anyway for music music classes. So yeah, but I don't know if I know, hopefully that was clear. If I can answer any questions, let me know. And I can also send this to you or send you other things I have. And if you have any questions, you can shoot me an email. But I'd love to get that going. I was really excited about it a couple of years ago, so, and I still am.
How many students did you have in musical?
56, including text, including crew. So, and I could also have a crew for this too, because I could still have people running lights, I've made it, because when Melinda used to do it, her husband ran sound, which was awesome. It's great that she had that built-in sound person. I don't have that. So I'm like, I teach students how to do it. And it's great, but it's just a little, extra stuff. Yeah, I can still do a crew for this as well. And I'd also like to open it up to 5th grade instead of just 6th, 7th, 8th.
And I'll just say when we were at Music at Parks, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, oh,
No, it's totally okay. No, it's okay. No
I
problem.
just gonna throw out there when we were at Music in the Parks, where we had the band and the choir, and the majority, I would say, of the kids who were there were also in the musical, and we talked about this club, and they begged, Sam, like begged, especially the ones that were going into 8th grade. They really wanted something to do.
Yeah, and I truly think like a couple of years ago when I first brought it to Jackie, I just think it was misunderstood. I don't think that it was like in a situation of like, oh, we don't want that. I think it was just misunderstood, and that's totally understandable. But then I felt horrible for those 5 8th graders. I had 5 8th graders that year, and like I was like, I'm sorry, guys. I promised we tried to do something, and now they got nothing, and it was very sad. So, but yeah, that's the intention.
Quick question.
Yeah.
So in the every other year that you do the musical,
Mhm.
is that a stipend position?
It is, yes.
So this just makes it
Mhm.
the same.
It's significantly less time, so I wouldn't
This-
say
this-
no to the full, yeah, it's significantly less time, like,
Depends on what you do with it too.
Well-
This could be a lot.
well, and it's, it's one of those things, I want it to be more of like a teaching, like a situation, like I said, like have the kids take it, it's, the whole idea is just still providing something, giving them the opportunity to perform while taking taking a lot of the pressure off of me. And thankfully this year, I've been really lucky. I had a great colleague that directed it with me. That hasn't always been the case over the past few years. So it's kind of things are coming back into play where it's like things are actually stable, which is wonderful. And I'm like crossing my fingers, nobody moves because it's like it's really, really good. It's just one of those situations where it's like I said, I'd love to time having another child where I'm not, either 9 months pregnant, putting on a musical because you know what it's like. You're up on ladders and running everywhere and up all night. So but that's my intention. Like I said, I'd love to, I would even say like, I don't want to give like an absolute, but it's like within the next 8, 9, 10 years, I'd love to go back to doing full shows every year. Get to that. And because Linda used to do a play in the interim years, but there hasn't been as much interest, there could be interest in the future with the theater class. Kids have been much more interested in acting, which is great. But I can fulfill some of that theater as well.
And you teach the theater.
I do, yes.
It's not like there's another.
No, it's great. Yeah, it was really fun this year. It was a blast. I taught 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and they all seemed to like it. Surprised what some of them would do. It's cool. Yeah, and I get to do it again this year. So
Right? So
yeah. So that is that. And then the other thing, this will be shorter for sure. I've been reaching out a little bit over the past few years. I started a club in 2020 called Wolverine Carolers. Which was a before school ensemble that I just it was a volunteer type thing. Kids could come and join it. We would meet once a week starting in October for a short time because I taught them between 12 and 15 Christmas carols because I get a lot of offers to like, hey, come bring some kids to sing at this. But I don't want to take this year my concert choir is going to have 50 kids. So I don't want to take my group of 50 kids out into like the world. So this was like a volunteer thing. I take them out to the community. And basically what I was looking for this was a stipend. I don't know what that would look like. I have no idea, but I've been doing it for 5 years. And it's been successful. We're already full for performances next year, but I'd also like to expand it. The kids beg me every year, let's go caroling in neighborhoods. And I'd love to do that. And it's like with our schedule. I mean, we already have 3 performances scheduled for next year. We perform at the tree lighting in Rockton. We're the only group that performs at that, which I'm super excited about. And they always rave like, oh my gosh, come back next year. And then we perform with Kelly Freeland. She puts on this hometown holiday thing, and all the schools do that. And then we perform here at the school. And we also performed at a paraprofessional's home last year as a kind of like a community outreach thing. She was having a party for the administrators of Woodward. And we went and did that. And that was super fun. And it was a great thing, way to give back to the community. So again, it's not a huge time commitment as far as rehearsals, but the performances, you know what December's like. I mean, doing 3 in December on top of what else I do is kind of a lot. So I'm just kind of looking for whatever that would look like as far as like a club stipend. And like I said, I have no idea what that would be. But just give you an idea what it was. It's been really fun. I've had between 20 and 30 kids. There's no cost. It's just a fun thing we do. It seemed to like. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay, I need, I'm gonna need an approval for the May regular meeting minutes, May committee meeting minutes, June bills of $499,674, June payroll of $520,440, and June treasurer's report and student activity.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Shall second.
Oh, yes, sorry, yes.
Anderson? Yes. Finnegan?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
You can ask.
Okay.
I'll abstain.
Okay, and then we have administrator reports from Mr. Carter, who will also be speaking on behalf of Mrs. Thompson.
Thank you. The year ended strong and it came quickly. Our Perseverance Assembly went really well. It's the last day of school. We also honored Mrs. Wyatt for persevering through 26 years of service to the district. We presented her with an honorary banner that's going to be displayed in our gym. Our summer maintenance projects are underway. Jimmy and his crew have been working nonstop at both buildings. We have staff moving at PHS and we have 4 new staff incoming. They're already starting to move in, and the staffs who are changing rooms are already making their rooms their own. They did not, I encouraged them to take a break after the year was out, but they won't take a break. They want to keep going, and thank them for all their hard work already. The first 2 weeks of June, I don't know if any of you saw the large number of sheriff vehicles and police vehicles at Prairie Hill. We had 8 days of full day first responder training. They cycled through they did a class, the same class 8 times, but with an average of 15 to 20 participants. I popped in and out of several of those sessions, but on the 9th, my crisis team and I did sit through their entire morning session with them to actually get the training that they were giving the officers. We received really good feedback with our current evacuation and crisis plan, some tweaks that we're going to do. My crisis team is going to meet in August to set up our go bags and put these stop the bleed kits in there, among other things. Last week, the admin team went to a training from the group called I Love You Guys. It is now it's an American company, but it's being used internationally now as far as vocabulary and procedures, and it's really kind of simplified way of doing all the drills, calling them, we used to do like hard lockdown, soft lockdown, and it just kind of got too confusing. So we're going to be working next year, the crisis team and I working with the school, as well as communicating with the families, what the new vocab will be. Lockdown's still there. I think we've got hold, secure, lock down, shelter in place and evacuate. So it's just, this is what we're doing. So it's kind of, it's not, there's no ambiguity there. Also, a couple weeks ago, the Edmond team went to the SEL symposium down in Rockford. It was put on by the ROE. It was a great training where there were a lot of different breakout sessions and we all kind of tag teamed. One of the things I got from that was Michael Bonner was the keynote in the morning. He works at the Ron Clark Academy. I don't know if you knew or know of Ron Clark, but he was a very engaging speaker. And it really kind of seemed like that theme of self-care and perseverance and what we were trying to end the year on is just kind of the trend right now, just in general with education. So a lot of the sessions were applicable, not only just from a educator leader standpoint, but also things that teachers can think about and how we can help our students with, you know, just mindfulness and managing emotion. So it was a good day. Our school schedule, the PHS school schedule is structurally set for next year. The board approved of the full-time lab position. And with that, working with the specialist team, we're going to be moving from a 5-day to a 10-day schedule. That change was made in May. It was a great discussion. What ended up happening was we were going to do technology lessons with half the school for 9 weeks, and then the other half would get it the next 9 weeks. And the team was like, well, why don't we just do everybody gets it within a 2-week period and then just keep rotating so they're all on the same page in the school. I'm like, let's go with it. So they got it to work, very excited. And that also will work the same way for SEL. The original plan was you get 9 weeks, half the school will get 9 weeks of technology classes and the other half would get 9 weeks of SEL. Well, it's not really applicable. So everybody's kind of doing it at the same time and it worked out just fine. Special shout out to the specialist team. We started this process in December of tweaking and looking at that specialist schedule, and they really took the reins and got it to work. So really excited about our new specialist schedule starting in August. Staffing, right now I'm in need of a full-time PE para and 1 classroom para for the upcoming school year. So not too bad. If you know anybody, let me know. And also I do have a long-term sub starting the school year. I'm in need of that for about the first 6 to 8 weeks. So again, if you know anybody, please send them my way. The admin team, we met last week. We're talking about some back to school and SIP day events and schedules are being planned and coordinated. Teachers and families will receive that information when we come back in August. And just as a final thing for me, I want to thank the board, the students, the teachers and staff, and the admin team, all the admin team for their support for my first year here at Prairie Hill. It's been a wonderful year getting to know and work with the student, staff, and community, and looking forward to seeing everybody in August. So thank you. I'm switching gears. Mrs. Thompson needed to attend to a family matter, so I offered to speak on her behalf. For the middle school. Also had a very busy month. We closed out the 24-25 school year and started preparing for the next school year. They're excited to continue with a similar schedule for the upcoming year. 5th graders will still have a study hall with 1 elective period. The 6th through 8th graders will still have 2 elective periods, but we have tweaked the schedule slightly to make sure that RTI is available for math and reading at every level. Additionally, we have the availability to offer support for reteaching, reassessments, and support for students who may struggle with executive functioning skills like organization and homework completion. On a personal note, my middle schooler at home struggles with that, so that's actually very exciting. So good job. Student scheduling for next school year is well underway. She'd like to shout out Erica and Chris for plowing through all the state reports, scheduling students, balancing classes, and managing all the behind scenes and the needs that make the schedule such a success every year. To talk to her about her tongue twisting. For the cheer. I'm sure she did. We'll be ready to roll that out in August when the time comes. As I had mentioned, she reports as well. The summer maintenance is well underway. She'd like to thank Jimmy and all his crew for the work that they put in for making the middle school look fresh and clean every school year. Mr. Rhines, Mrs. Keller, and Mrs. Del Santo hosted another fabulous year of adventure camp. Approximately 70 students came back to the middle school to make crafts, play games, hike, explore creeks, and more. And it was a great time for all. I appreciate all of those staff members getting these students outside for good old traditional fun. And last but not least, as you may know, we have found teachers for science. Mr. Brad Brown is up for approval tonight. And for PE, Tyler Zimmerman was approved last month. And we're still currently looking for a nurse and a long-term ELA sub for Mrs. Myers. So a couple of ones at the middle school. However, almost fully staffed for the start of the school year. So those are the building reports. Thank you for all of that. Any questions?
I just want to mention that they don't have to sit here.
Yeah.
You're welcome to stay. You also don't have to. I know you have a little. Thanks for the invitation. Sneak out.
All right, as far as my stuff is concerned, we talked about the joint annual conference at the committee of the whole. Nikki, have you sent stuff out for that yet?
Yeah.
Okay, so that will be coming out, so watch your inboxes for that. Jeff, if you don't know, the joint annual conference is in Chicago in November. It's a school board conference where there's a ton of different sessions that you can learn about a lot of different things. Typically, we've gone kind of in every other year-ish. But it's really good for new board members. So we'll get the information to you, and if you can make it, great. And if not, get it. It's a really busy time of year. So, so Nikki, I'll get that information out here shortly. Just a reminder that we're going to have to renew our e-learning plan. So I'll be sending out information to families here within the next week or so. And we'll look to approve that at July. That's up every 3 years. So we're up for this upcoming school year and the next 2 years after that. Reminder that we need to settle on a school board calendar tonight and what that looks like. I think it sounded like as a committee of the whole that everybody was pretty much set on keeping the Wednesday on the Wednesday, but we'll make sure that that's a thing. And then we can get that approved and sent out later on. Benning approval, just a reminder, we are looking to approve Benning for this upcoming year and the next year. Kyle actually came yesterday to do some pre-field work. So chatted with him. Everything looks good to go as of right now. So really excited to continue that partnership. We'll be doing a budget amendment presentation here in a little bit, just to show you where we were at. And the state requires that if you go over what your predicted budget was, then you just have to do a budget amendment hearing. So that'll be pretty straightforward, but we'll do that here shortly. Let's see, we have several action items on the board agenda that I'm sure you've already seen that are they're pretty typical for a June board meeting. Treasurer, banks, people that can sign off on financial statements, that sort of thing. So, and then obviously with Haley there, we will look to see if that's something that the board is willing to approve those two things for a stipend position, or if that needs to be tabled for a later conversation. Although I think she did a great job of explaining all of those things. And that's about all I have for open questions.
Excuse me.
So subcommittee report. Building and finance, does Tina actually present anything or we just do the motion?
Yeah,
We already talked about Benning. This is for our. The budget amendment we talked about. Administrative and non-cert raises will be in closed session. Bond presentation, the bond will be ending in 2 years and Lewis come and give a presentation.
you gotta get in contact.
And with the upcoming meetings, to give us some different options about keeping the funding flowing.
We have a motion to approve Benning as the auditors for the Prairie School District for the 26-27 school years.
My second.
Anderson?
Yes.
Yes.
Finnegan?
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
Stain.
Yes, please.
Fine, turn it on. And then hit the screen share for me, Justin. It's right behind you, team, actually.
Oh,
That guy right there.
Can you see? Really exciting stuff.
It's just not a good spot for that chair.
Get connected here. Okay, so this is very similar to what I had sent or presented on in the fall last year. But as I said, if we go over by law, we're supposed to give a presentation on that. Well, not give a presentation, but just or have a budget hearing and then kind of go over why that would have happened. Come on, there we go. Okay. So what I did on the left there is I just put the expected expenditure for the different fund balances that we have. So originally thought to be $7,834,529. As you can see, the instruction support services cost equal to 7.4 there. And then other units at $348,000. That's a special Winnebago County Special Education Cooperative and alternative schools if students need maybe some more help in budget in different areas that the Winnebago County Co-op cannot necessarily provide for. So the actual expenditure, we were at $7,892,999. So we were $58,470 over budget there. A lot of that, I believe, is attributed to our insurance costs. When I did the budget, if you remember, we used to have it on school year, and now we have it on calendar year. So this is like one of the first years trying to predict what that's going to look like come December. We've had some pretty tough years as far as insurance and increases. I based it upon 15% and it actually came back at 17.5%. So that attributed to quite a bit of the increase there, as well as we've had to hire a couple extra paras. But throughout the district, during the course of the year for students that qualified for an individualized education plan or IEP, or students that have moved in. So that's where that $58,000 is attributed to. If you take a look at operations and maintenance, 790,813 was expected, 800,989, so 10,176. And a lot of that's based just upon little overage in salaries and projects that we had going on throughout the course of the school year. Debt service, that's our bond payment. So that stayed the same, obviously. That's what we're expected to pay every year. That's what we get or hope to get from our tax levy. First student was a little over 494.5 to 506,646. So a difference of 12,146. So probably attributed to field trips, maybe some extra athletic events that we've had since we're starting to finally really get back into the swing of things and getting some different things going with the other school districts in the area. So not a huge overage there, but definitely an overage of what we originally planned for. IMRF Social Security, this one's 269 to 455. With actual was 296, 131. So that's 26,676. And a lot of that is attributed to, again, paraprofessionals that were added that we contribute to their IMRF on behalf of the district. So that was the addition there. And those were employees that were added based upon student need. Capital projects, no surprise there. Working project or working cash, no surprise there. And tort, we typically don't levy for that. So that stayed at 0. And then the final one is fire prevention and safety. So we levied for that 10,165. We ended up spending 54,313. And if you remember, we spent a chunk of that 44,148 on the Security locks for all of the doors in both buildings for the lockdown.
Did we ever get the band and choir room lock fixed?
I believe so. I haven't double checked that, but they had to drill
As of
holes.
the musical, it was not.
No, I'm pretty sure they got that done towards the end of the year, but let me double check that. The handles were like way further in than typical. So I think they were going to put a plate on to make it look nice. And that way they were able to put it right in the jam. instead of buying a brand new door for
Yeah.
$1,000 or whatever they cost.
Is there a reason why the door handles was an unknown expenditure?
It wasn't an unknown. It was something that I talked to the board about, moving funds from fire prevention and safety to O&M.
Oh.
So it was an additional expense that we've had kind of a big push here the last couple of years on, obviously Craig talked about safety and whatnot. The Secure Tech locks are something that Honmiga has, and we went to look at them, I think about a year and a half ago. And we made the decision as a district to spend the 40 grand or whatever it was to put those on every single door, just because it's a one button push. And locks the door like a deadbolt. That door has it on there though, so if you want to take a look at it during the meeting, or
So like that big difference in like the $44,000 it's moved somewhere else.
Right.
Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. Yep, I think we actually used fund balances and then moved it over. I'd have to take a look back, but yeah, so that's what that's attributed to. Yep. And then just a quick overview here. It's kind of small, so I apologize for that, but I wanted to get it all on one page there. So you can see the differences that I went through for the budget. And then, so the actual overage for all of those fund balances was 151,616 from what we originally budgeted. So does anybody have any questions about any of that? I should be able to get a better handle on, I'll probably budget higher for insurance just because we've been pretty unfortunate lately, unfortunately. So more serious things.
Motion to approve the 2024-2025 amended budget.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Also,
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Finnegan?
Staying.
so I just,
Yep, so if you want to roll them off and if people have questions about them, please feel free to ask, but we have to approve a treasurer, we have to approve banks, we have to approve people to sign off on financial statements, and we have to have a bond for our district treasurer every year, so this.
so
None
I
of
just,
these are different.
so I just read the recommendation and then somebody says. Motion to approve.
Yep.
Recommendation to appoint, is it Rochelle?
Rachel.
Rachel
Yep.
Blitch as PHSD's treasurer for the 25-26 school year. So moved.
Second.
Finnegan?
Yes.
Einstein?
Yes.
Anderson? Yeah. Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Recommendation to approve First Mid Bank and Northwest Bank as PHSD's banks of operation.
Second.
Yes.
Anderson? Yeah.
Yes.
Finnegan?
Yes.
Staying.
Recommendation to designate Clint Sizik and Tina Anderson as the persons to review, accept, and sign off on financial statements. Make a motion.
You'll need to approve.
Okay. I will move.
Second.
Einstein?
Yes.
Anderson? Abstain. Finnegan?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yeah.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Recommendation to approve the purchase of $1,394,457 surety bond for the district treasurer.
And it doesn't actually cost that much, that's just how much. That's the coverage, yes, that's the coverage.
It's really bad. I'll move.
Second.
Oh.
Sorry. Sorry.
And then
Mr. Einstein?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yeah.
Finnegan?
yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Abstain.
Onto education transportation. See, is there anything for education transportation? Yeah, no? That's
Got
Okay, yeah, we did that one.
Well, I
Oh,
think we've been.
it's listed there and it's listed below.
What we talked about in how.
Policy, Mr. Keller.
So we have our final reading from the, what was it? Press. Yeah, it's usually comes in March. It's a little late this year. Did anyone have any questions about all the policies listed there?
I want to read off all those numbers.
And so do we just make a motion to approve okay, motion to approve the press final reading and 5-year review? Or who that's, okay, all together.
Yep.
Motion to approve it. So moved. I did do that?
You can do that.
I do it.
You can.
Second.
Do whatever you want. You're
I
fine.
am.
Yeah.
Right?
This usually been roll call.
Anderson?
Yeah.
Mr. Keller?
Yeah.
Mr. Lewis?
Abstain.
Yes.
We had secure, we have our purchasing records from 314 to current. Then we had public info access. They wanted the school and district level administrator contact list. And then Rockford Sun wanted a list of all of our graduates in the past 5 school years, including their graduation years, names, hometowns, and genders, which we basically denied that one because we only go take 3. What the Rockford Sun publication.
Can you keep that in?
I don't believe so. but
Right.
what do you think about it?
They like building a database of,
Yeah.
like, that's kind of what it seems like.
I'm pretty sure this Owen Wang is AI,
Yeah.
so we still have to treat it like a FOIA because Owen Wang is also sent to a bunch of different districts throughout the entire state of Illinois.
Okay.
So he's a very busy man.
Okay. We'll go into executive session to discuss appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific. According to 5 ILCS 122C1. Okay. Motion to go into close.
Second,
There we go.
Finnegan?
Yes.
Mr. Keller?
Yeah.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.